Good evening and welcome to the final round of the SSRI GT4 Championship Season 2. And what a season it's been. 5 rounds across 4 months of intense on-track action. We come into the final round with a Pro Class Championship already sewn up by Andrew Richardson in his Porsche 718 Cayman, taking 4 out of the 5 wins, his only misstep being a second place finish at Bathurst. Aaron Walker currently sits in P2, but there is a question mark of whether Aaron can make the race this evening. With a late season comeback, we have Sander Vale waiting in the wings in P3. If Aaron is not able to race tonight and Sander takes victory in Richardson's absence, he could take that silver podium spot. But all eyes are on the AM Class Championship, where we have had a barnstormer of a season between Dennis Workman, Denise Pope and Nick Vargas battling it out race after race. We come into this final round with Workman and Pope tied on first place with 220 points apiece. However, in a shock announcement earlier today, Dennis Workman is unable to race tonight. So that means he will take tonight as his drop round and finishes his championship on 250 points. So Denise Pope just needs to finish the race and she wins the championship. But let's not forget Nick Vargas. After much mind-numbing number crunching this afternoon, I've worked out that if Nick wins and Denise finishes P3 or lower, then they will be tied on championship points after tonight's race. That means that the championship will then go to the number of top finishes, which is skewed in Nick's favor with 2 wins over Denise's 0. So, with a 3.4-mile Circuit of the Americas in Austin, Texas as our backdrop, the stage is set for an epic battle for that AM Championship title. Pope versus Vargas, Mercedes versus McLaren. So joining me in the commentary booth for all the action, as always, is Ryan Walker. Ryan, who's your money on tonight?
Yeah, it's difficult to say, but I think just going by consistency, I think I've got a feeling that Denise Pope will take that championship if she just finishes. So I think she'll just be looking to do that and not do anything silly or drastic tonight. But just aim to finish and pick up the points. And with Vertman not being around tonight, it should be it should look like an easy job to get done, but as you know, especially around the Circuit of the Americas, if you get too many off tracks or cut track warnings, you can get a drive-through penalty. So that could play a factor tonight.
Yeah, so the Circuit of the Americas, it's one of those really, really difficult tracks. It's very misleading in that it looks relatively simple when you're driving around, but yeah, those track limit warnings can come completely out of nowhere, especially in the S's section between turn 3 and turn 10. So easy to get a wheel just slightly off track. And you can have track warnings come out of absolute nowhere through there. So we do join the action just coming into the last few minutes of qualifying, where we've got Bas van Millis currently sitting in P1 with a 217.7 in that iconic black and white Porsche livery. We've got Nikolai Schroeder, who is a latecomer to the AM Championship. He's joined for the final race tonight, and he's quick. Let's not beat around the bush. Only a tenth off of Bass's time, so then this could be interesting to see how Nikolai does this evening.
Yeah, absolutely. I was watching him in practice and looking at some of his times, and he's definitely quick. And even if he's in the AM class tonight, I think he's definitely proven or given the case to be moving up into the pro class if he does decide to do the new season or next season. So he's definitely right up there qualifying at the moment, second overall and first in the AM class. So we were talking about that as well before we came on there. That him being in the AM class, that could throw a bit of a spanner in the works.
It could, and it could make things, extremely difficult for Nick to try and steal that championship win. And as I was saying, he has to finish first, and Denise to finish worse than third for him to take that win. But with Nikolai Schroeder being quite up there, that's going to be quite a challenging feat for Nick to do. But looking down the order at where Denise and Nick Vargas currently sit, Denise currently sat in P8, with Nick Vargas currently down in P10. As we just follow Raptor Vince, just round then the last few corners. Oh no, we've just switched over to Regan Mitchell, just as he comes round the final corner, coming into the finish. Regan currently 0.4 up on his time, so this could move him up in the order quite a good place, or one or two places.
It could indeed, as he's coming round the final corner now and across the line, and it looks like he improves up one position up into fourth place.
And that concludes our qualifying for this evening. We do have quite a limited field for you tonight. Unfortunately, we've had quite a few people signing out due to real life commitments. But while we wait for the grid to get organised and to start that parade lap, Ryan Wayne, what's been your highlights of the season so far?
There's been so many highlights in this season that it's hard to tell, but I think there's been quite a lot of highlights. But just in general, the racing this season has been really close. Really close in both classes, and there's been in the pro class, it's pretty much been a story of dominance from Andrew Richardson, who's not around tonight, but I don't think Andrew's too worried because he's pretty much got the championship wrapped up. He wrapped up in the previous round, so probably deciding to give tonight a miss and just maybe just relax a little bit. But I think that AM class has been probably the one to watch with so much close racing in the class and so many different winners as well. I think he'll take that championship tonight. I'm not sure, but like I say, I've got a feeling that Denise Pope will take that AM championship tonight, and she'll probably just drive round just able to finish. And I think even though the pro championship wrapped up, I think that'll be the class to watch tonight. But I think my prediction for tonight, if I was to pick a winner, is probably it's a tough one, but I've got to go with even though he's new to the series, I've got to go with Nikolai Schroeder. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm personally my money is going to be on Regan to take then the overall win tonight. I've just got a feeling that in that Maserati, he's just had the measure of it all season. I think it'd be interesting to see how he does tonight. But going back to Denise Pope, I mean, if she does take then the AM Class Championship tonight, it's just such a such a strong finish towards consistency being so important in sim racing. She hasn't won a single race this season so far, but she's been consistently up in second and third place. She has not dropped below third at all this entire season. and that is a hallmark of just a really, really good, consistent, clean driver. It's a shame she hasn't won. I think she's had a couple of bad luck races that she should have finished a lot further up than she did. But I'm all fingers crossed for Denise. She's a fantastic person, great driver, and I would love to see her take the championship tonight for that AM class.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, she's had chances this season at times this season, especially I think it was Bathurst where she was leading her class, but unfortunately across the mountain section, I think it was over Skyline. There was a car parked sideways, and unfortunately she got caught up with that. And yeah, especially after the race, she was really frustrated because I think even she knew she had a good chance to take the Class 1 at Bathurst, but unfortunately the racing gods intervened. But still, she's been getting consistent results with several podium finishes and right up there and with a chance of taking that ARM Championship tonight. But obviously we've got a 75-minute race, and that's around COTA. It's a long time with these GT4 cars, and I think on the one hand, we've not having a big turnout tonight. I think Denise will be maybe just probably thinking, thank God there's not as much cars tonight.
Yeah, there aren't as many cars as there have been in other races. However, fully half the grid is AM class drivers, so quite a decent AM turnout, and it does mean that she's gonna have to finish ahead of quite a few cars in order to guarantee then that place. So as we just get ready to start the formation lap, let's just have a quick run through the starting grid. So on row 1, we've got Bas van Millis, followed by Nikolai Schroeder. Row 2, we've got Frank Hopp alongside Regan Mitchell. Then we've got Richard Pixley and Nicholas Malott in row 3. Row 4, we've got Router Vince and Denise Pope. Row 5, we've got Mark Sanyal and Nick Vargas. And on the final row in P11 and 12, we've got Patrick Tractor and Jan Barth. I noticed Jan didn't actually post a time in qualifying. Just struggling with track limits, and I think that is going to be a theme for tonight, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. Indeed. Excuse me. Just watching them now come up through this or on the exit of this tight twisty section. Probably one of the most difficult because some of that tight twisty section after turn 1 and turn 2 it invites you to try and carry more speed. But the downside with that is if you end up carrying more speed than expected, you can clip those sausage curves and they can possibly end your race.
Yeah, and with this race being 75 minutes, it's a long time to rack up those track limit warnings. So I do expect to see quite a number of drive-throughs coming in, especially towards the end of the race. As in YouTube chat, our Pro Class champion Andrew Richardson has just joined us and is taking the odds on the first drive-through. So yeah, I'll take those odds, and I'll who would you choose, Ryan, for getting the first drive-through?
To get the first drive-through, I don't. That sounds like a harsh betting game, but
it does. Should we leave that to YouTube chat and to debate?
Yeah, I don't want to jinx it. I don't want to jinx anyone or commentators curse anyone, so I'm keeping out of it.
Right. So, with this being one of our mid-length 75-minute races, there is a mandatory stop for fuel, but no mandatory stop for tires. So it is going to be open choice for the drivers. Through our other 75-minute races, a majority of the drivers have been opting to not change tires and just take the pain. However, this is a pretty long track. And with so many corners, I mean, this track has 20 turns in it. I'm wondering just how many of the field are going to risk going with a no tire strategy, or who's going to play it safe and take tires. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, I think COTA is one of those tracks that the tyres can take a bit of a punish, or take a beating, just because of especially because of the high speed nature of the corners. I think it wouldn't surprise me if most drivers take tyres, but as we're coming up to the line now, we're just about to get underway.
All right, do you want to take the start, Ryan?
Yep, can do as they're coming across the line now, and yeah, they're underway heading up to turn 1, and it looks like Baz Van Melis has got the jump into turn 1, but obviously Nikolai Schroeder is trying to make a move, and actually Nikolai Schroeder just about gets bugged off by Regan Mitchell as they head down on the exit of turn 1 into turn 2 and heading up to the section I was talking about, and it looks like Regan Mitchell's making a move in that Maserati. And it looks like Nikolai is not prepared to give up, and though they're going side by side, that's brave on that one.
Oh, that is brave. I mean, and obviously, you know, we're not familiar with Nikolai Schroeder, but yeah, been very, very clean to hang it out alongside Regan Mitchell through that section. But it looks like he has gotten the upper hand and has managed to stay in front. But Regan Mitchell still right on then the back with Richard Pixley following very, very closely behind.
Yep, as they're heading down the back straight now, and it's still Van Melis leading from Mitchell and Schroeder. But looking at Nick Vargers at the moment, he's got the run on. It looks like Rince at the moment, but just not close enough to make a move. And I think these drivers are realising as Vargas is about, someone goes flying off in the background there. That's a different light. A different line to take.
I think that is what. So it looked like he just completely and totally missed his braking point. And just sailed through the corner. Thankfully, there's quite a lot of runoff in that area. So though he went off screen, I don't think he actually made contact with the wall and was able to rejoin again.
Indeed, as they look back up at the front, third place Regan Mitchell, and it looks like Richard Pixel behind us. As someone got sideways there in the exit of the final corner, and we're going 3 wide in the background there across the line, but it looked like Richard Pixel thought he was making a move there, and that's it. Denise Pope up from 5th place overall. She has to be careful though, because she's in contention for the championship. Someone was making a move up the inside, and it looks like Malott was trying to make a move there.
Yeah, it's very interesting about this track layout. There are so many corners, but all of the 3 corners before main straights, so turn 1, turn 11, and the final turn 20, the track widens out intentionally to almost invite people to try and have a dive into the braking zone. But then the track narrows again very, very considerably after each of those corners. So lots of incidents can happen in those 3 sections. Lots of overtakes as well as quite a lot of coming together. So definitely some places to watch for then this race coming into turn 1, turn 11 down onto that back straight, and final turn 20.
Indeed, it looks like Patrick Tractor's lost several positions there, and again looking at Vargas, and it all seems to be. It looks like in the background as well. It looks like someone's making a move in the background. Actually, there's a few people making moves. It's someone's had an issue in the hairpin header into the twisty section there. Several cars have to take avoided accidents. It looks like, oh no, is that Denise? Is that Denise? Oh
that
no,
is Denise. No.
I thought that was a Wild Finds Racing car there, but I wasn't sure what one it is. And
yeah, it is Denise. Oh.
And the bad luck strikes again.
And it does, yeah. But in order for Denise to not get the championship, Nick Vargas has to win. And Nick still has quite a number of cars in front of him. So as long as Denise keeps going, then she's going to be all right.
And she dives into the pits to get what I presume would be, or to get repairs anyway. So I think Denise is just being sensible and realising that it's probably best to dive in and get some repairs. But it looks like she might have got spun around possibly. Not spun around, but she did get tagged, but she didn't spin, so she managed to get going again. And I wonder if she got a. I think Denise, I think she probably just turned in there without realising there was a car up the inside there. So, yeah, that was unfortunate.
And it is unfortunate, but no doubt, Denise is, she is a firm racer. She will have one eye on the championship points. She will probably have calculated all the positions just as I have this afternoon. So I would guess that no matter how long that repair takes, she is going to come back out, and it does appear that she's just coming out down pit lane now. So that is her mandatory stop finished. As long as she has the fuel, she can now go to the end of the race.
Indeed, as we've got a battle for 7th place going on at the moment between Nicholas Millett and looks like Vargas as well. Millett up the inside, can he get it stopped? Yes, he can, but it looks like Vargas might try and do a bit of a switch back. But I think it looks like Millett's got the position.
Yeah, we currently have Regan Mitchell and Richard Pixley fighting it out for P3. I think they are just coming up to the final corner, coming down onto the main straight, heading for that quite iconic incline up to turn 1. But I don't think Regan is that Richard is quite close enough yet to get the position on that bright green Porsche of Nicholas Schroeder.
The rider on board Pixel through the section of the track here that I was talking about is so difficult to get a cut track and even mess up your line, as it looks like Schroeder's messed up his entry slightly, but manages to keep good momentum. But it looks like Van Mellis has lost a bit of time through that section as well. But yeah, the top 3 still close together, and I think at the moment Pixley's probably just waiting there to see what happens. We've still got a long way to go in this race, and yeah, I was wondering what happened to Regan Mitchell there, because he was up into 3rd place at one point, and I think I don't know if he's made a mistake and he's lost that position by doing a mistake. But again, that Maserati in a straight line, it's a quick car anyway. So, but again, just falling back ever so slightly. So it looks like the Porsche and the Mercedes might be maybe a bit more suited to this track. As Pixie runs wide ever so slightly, and but manages to get the car turned in. But again, it's probably one of the trickiest sections on the track, because you're having to brake and then turn right, and then basically this section it's a bit a stop start, if you like.
Yeah, I've not done very many laps around COTA. Obviously, Circuit of the Americas was part of the America DLC pack that was introduced during the summer. So I've not done any competitive racing here. Done a few laps just to get a feel for the circuit, and instantly coming across the problem of trying to keep it in track limits as Frank Hopp attempts to go for a dive down the inside, but he's now going to end up on the outside, and is just run a little bit wide, and just does the sensible thing of tucking back in behind. As who is he battling with? Yeah, Jan Barth up in P9. So this is Porsche versus Porsche. And
Hopp's going around the outside, and I was about to say that was a great move on the outside. He managed to hold it on the outside, carry the momentum on quarter exit, and moves up into 9th place now, and that's going to put a Barth on the back foot, because his entry into turn 1 got compromised there. So Frank Hopp up into 9th now, and the next car in front of him is Patrick Tractor, and it seems to be the Porsche Cayman seems to suit this track, these tight twisty sections, and I think it seems probably the car to have around here. It's not the quickest car, but it's a good handling car to have, with loads of high speed corners. And as I head up to the hairpin now into the back straight, Hopp tries to defend inside, and I think you'll probably start pulling away from the Barth on the straight now. And as I say that, it looks like Barth's got a run, but back up at the front, it looks like we've had a change for second place, with Nicholas Schroeder falling down to third, and Richard Pixley back up at the second place, with Regan Mitchell right behind this battle now.
Yeah, and still obviously waiting for the timing screen to update. Hopefully we can get a replay of that move, but staying on board with this battle between Frank Hopp and Jan Barth at the minute, because then this battle is far from over, and but whoever does win out on this battle is going to have some work cut out for them, with Patrick Tractor being 3 seconds and up the road now, and that gap increasing as these two fight. As we head on board with Nicholas Malott and battling with Mark Saniel for P5, and it looks like he's managed to get the move done very nicely on the inside, coming up that hill towards turn 1. Very, very nicely done. And Nicholas Malott up into P5.
Indeed, as they head up through the S's now, and Walter up into 10th place now, and it seems to have calmed down now, with some of the early stages of the race mayhem. Everyone's been sensible and just calming down now. They realise it's still a long way to go in this race, but even though there's a low turnout, some of the races so far has been really good to watch, especially up at the front. And we've got a four-way battle for the lead, and as I say that, Regan Mitchell, it looks like he's lining up a move on Richard Pixley, heading down to this little tight twisty section, pulls out and tries to show, or try to distract Richard Pixley, but again Pixley's wise to that, and holds his line.
Yeah, and I think then this battle with Regan Mitchell and Richard Pixley, it's a battle that we've seen quite a number of times throughout this championship. But knowing that Regan does, like to challenge himself by taking this Maserati that has no traction control, no ABS. He's probably going to have tire life, inkling in the back of his mind of potentially not pushing too much, but wanting to keep then the pressure on Pixley in the hopes that he might make a mistake. But in stark contrast to a lot of the races that we've had then this season, this front pack not pulling away quite as much. Then there's only just over 2 seconds is then the gap between P1 all the way down to P5, P4, sorry. So the front of this grid still staying tightly packed, and I think that is going to be the case for the remainder of this race. Then certainly then the top three we know are all very equally skilled drivers, so it's all to play for and could be anyone's race.
It could. What's in the top four heading into the back straight now, and it looks like Pixley's caught up to the rear of Baz Van Melis, and I think it could be a matter of time before Richard Pixley tries to make a move. But as I say, that looks like Baz has pulled away ever so slightly on the back straight, and it looks like maybe running say slightly lower wing for the back straight there, because it is quite a long straight. It's one of those sections of the track that you want to try and get on the power early to try and carry that speed down the back straight. But yeah, all the top four all close together, and it looked like they're evenly matched on pace.
Yeah, and just looking at then their overall lap times, Regan Mitchell not hanging about. He currently has fastest lap, and is constantly resetting fastest lap as well. So that last lap was 2:18.9 compared to 2:19s, high 2:19s from Bass and Richard Pixley. So. And I think Regan is just going to be biding his time a little bit, waiting for the right time to pounce.
Indeed, as they head up to the start finish line to complete another lap, and they just under 1 hour remaining, and I wonder if any of the top four rather, will try and go as long as possible and try and maybe use the under Richardson strategy if they're trying to go as long as possible and doing the pit stop in the final couple of minutes. But again, it's come up to the tight twisty SE6, and now it's Van Melis still leading from Pixley and Regan Mitchell, and as Baz gets his entry to the section a little bit wrong there, but manages to get the car back on line. And I think it's I think these four drivers, especially with Schroeder waiting in the background there, this is a perfect opportunity to take the first win of the season. And I think, especially Baz, I think he'll be the one that'll want it the most, because at times this season he's been really, really quick, and they've been in contention for a good result. But unfortunately, luck's just not waiting. As I say that, Baz runs wide into the hairpin there, heading into the back straight, and this will give Richard Pixley the opportunity to carry that momentum and try and get a run and make the move. What's it looks like he's doing.
Yeah, and then he is going to have the inside line, I believe, for the tight left-hander up at then the top, and cleanly gets the job done. Just looking at then the championship standings of where Regan Mitchell and Richard Pixley sit, they are currently in a very, very tight battle going into this race. It was only 4 points between them, but with Sander Vale not being here tonight, they are fighting over P3 of the championship. So then this battle can be quite important for how then this all plays out.
Indeed, it looks like actually Baz Van Melis has ended up falling back down to third place. So yeah, Regan Mitchell up in second place now as they head up to the final corner, and Baz is just making a couple of mistakes there, which they lost him a couple of positions. But I think he's realising there's still some time in this race to try and get back up into the lead, and maybe use a different pit strategy. Maybe try and pit early to get an undercut and try and retake the lead that way. As Pixley runs wide into turn 1 now, that'll compromise his exit. His exit there as Baz gets a bit sketchy on the exit as well.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a sideways moment. Interestingly, I've just seen in a YouTube chat, Andrew Richardson has said great effort from Schroeder so far. Apparently, he only started practicing today in the Cayman for this race, so less than 6 hours worth of practice, and Schroeder up, in P4 and. Very, very clearly quicker of all than the AM classes. So it's going to be very interesting to see how Schroeder does today. This is the first time then that we've seen him, and from the looks of his form today, I would very, very much look forward to seeing him in future seasons. As we're just on board with Nikolai, and then obviously within the couple of mistakes that Bassen has made, has brought Nikolai back up into then this fight for what is in effect the fight for a four-way battle for the lead. I'm not sure if maybe Bass might be carrying a little bit of damage, and it does seem to be a little bit ginger around the corner, so I don't know if maybe he's trying to protect tires, maybe wanting to go long on that tire stop, but yeah, when we shall see as we head back down to right on board with Frank Hopp, who is currently in the battle with P10 for Router of Rinse. As they are just coming out of the technical section into the stadium part of the track, just coming on to up to the final corner, as Router Prince just gets a little bit wide, clips that curb, but they are now going to have a side-by-side fight, drag race all the way up then the hill, and Prince just tucks in front, and that is job done. So then curbs here can be quite treacherous, and there's not just track limits that you need to worry about, but there are some quite painful curbs offline around here. So do have to be careful of placing your car properly. But when with this track being one of the newer DLC tracks, people don't have quite as much experience around here. A lot of the tracks that we visit through the season, quite often when we will see the top drivers beating the real life GT4 lap records. I don't think that is going to be the case tonight. And however, looking up on the lovely Wikipedia earlier today, the official real life track record for the Circuit of the Americas in the GT4 is the 2:16.0. Our fastest lap at the minute is only a 2:18.9, so still quite a ways off of that. Highly unlikely that we're going to see that real life lap record beaten today. But I do think that'll come down in seasons to come as people get more and more familiar with the track within the Assetto Corsa platform.
Yeah, absolutely. COTA is one of those tracks I love. Some people hate the track. I have to say I do love the track just because of the challenge of trying not to get loads of cut track warnings and also drive-throughs, which can especially with the length of the pit lane at COTA, it can definitely end your race. But still, this battle for the lead is still going on between Pixley, Mitchell, Van Mellis, and also Schroeder just in the background as well. But it looks like Baz is just falling back slightly, so maybe just trying to look after the tyres at the moment.
Yeah, you were mentioning about then the length of pit lane. Pit lane can sometimes potentially be a little dangerous here as well. It comes out right into the braking zone for turn one, and it is on the inside of the track. So you do have racing speed cars cutting straight across your nose as you come out of pit lane. I've had a couple of instances here where I've been taken out coming out of pit lane around here. So I've got to say, it's a great track to watch. Personally, I'm not as much of a fan of driving around here, but no, not driven here competitively yet. So that might change if I experience it in an actual race environment. Unfortunately, I had to miss the GT3 round at COTA this season because I was moving house.
Yeah, I was commentating on another race at the weekend at COTA and on ACC, and yeah, there was definitely some close calls in the pit entry with people trying to carry as much speed as possible and not lose too much time. And I can't remember who it was. They ended up carrying loads of speed on the pit entry, and because they basically carried a little bit too much speed, they ended up running wide and just hitting the wall on the entry, and they pretty much ended their race.
Oh.
So yeah, it was a bit of an oopsie moment.
Yeah, I mean, being an American track, then there is quite a lot of runoff around here, and nice paved runoff as well. But it does seem that the track designers have given you quite a bit of room for error in the initial corner, but then the walls start to close in very, very quickly as soon as that corner finishes. As this fight between Richard Pixley and Regan Mitchell just continues to hot up, and I do think that this is a battle that is going to continue through the whole race. These two have been battling tooth and nail all season, so I expect this to go on for pretty much the remaining 45 minutes we've got left in this race.
Yeah, absolutely. I just looked and saw there was about pretty much 48 minutes left in this race. I was like, wow, the time's just flew by. Even though we've not got many cars on track, it's still been a great race to watch nevertheless. And it looks like Van Mellis and Schroeder are going at it now, and Baz is falling back ever so slightly. It looks like Schroeder's making a move up inside, and Baz just left just enough room there.
Yeah, but then Nikolai, showing that he's a competent driver, he recognised the warning signs and backed out of it just in time before that ended up being an accident. So, yes, and always interesting to see a new driver on track and get a sense for how they perform. So Nikolai, from what we've seen tonight, looks very promising, and definitely hope to see him again in future races.
Indeed, is looking at Denise Pope still going around doing laps, and that's pretty much what all Denise needs to do is just go around and finish the race. And as it stands, it looks like pretty much say it's her championship to lose, and it just needs to finish and pick up the points. Yeah,
I mean, she's going to end up, unfortunately, having quite a boring race in herself, but it does mean, she doesn't have, at this point in time, doesn't have any traffic around her, so she can just, concentrate on basically just on hot lapping, but no doubt the calculated driver then that she is, she's going to have one eye on the prize, and is probably just going to lap as safely and consistently as she can, try to avoid then those track limit warnings, and just bring it home, and hope that Nick Vargas doesn't make up those two class positions, and snatch the win from the jaws of defeat, as they say.
Indeed, as we're looking at Schroeder now, they managed to get by Van Melis, and I think I'll be interested to see if Nikolai can close that gap down to the top two in front of him. But as the top two still continue to scrap amongst themselves, heading onto the back straight now, and it looks like Regan Mitchell might have a good run here. But again, I think it's just that Mercedes GT4 car. It's got some grunt in a straight line, and I think that's making it difficult for Regan to make a move. But as I say that, it looks like Regan's got a run, and Pixley has to go defensive there, and he has to go to the inside line. That will compromise his entry. Sorry. So it looks like Regan looking to be the quicker driver at this stage of the race.
Yeah, and he is definitely then the quicker driver. Just in overall best lap time so far. Not a whole lot in it. 2:18.9 for Regan Mitchell versus a 2:19.1 for Richard Pixley. But something that I noticed of Regan just coming out of that last corner, tail of that. That Maserati just getting a little bit squirrely on exits, so he is going to have to be careful that he doesn't kill those tires unless he's planning on doing a full tire change stop, which if he is, probably will be coming sometime soon. So anyone who's pitting halfway through the race, you can probably bet money that they are going to be taking tires as well. If they go long, then they're just taking fuel.
Indeed, as the Pixley and the Mitchell come down to the S's now, and it looks like Pixley compromised his entry there ever so slightly, but it looks like Regan Mitchell he looks to be slightly quicker than Pixley, but it's just a case of trying to find somewhere to make that move. And I thought he was going to go outside there, and that Maserati just showing again. No traction control. It's definitely got to be careful on the right foot.
Yeah, you can just see it, and occasionally just wanting to step out on Regan, but he's been driving this car all season. I do believe he took the car a couple of times last season, and as well in some of the open rounds. So familiar car to him. He knows its foibles, and it's the fact that it can occasionally get nasty and turn around and bite, but he's definitely keeping it well under control, but he's got to be concerned about that tire life.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, Mitchell tries to take a look up the inside and tries to force Pixley, or tries to distract Pixley, but again, just not successful. And it's a great defensive job by Pixley at the moment. And as you see in the background there, these guys are holding each other up, and it's allowing the Schroeder and Van Melis to close back up on them.
Yeah, still 2.3 seconds been backed into P3, but that gap was over 3 seconds and a couple of laps ago. So, yeah, Pixley and Mitchell squabbling amongst themselves. There is going to come a time where they are going to end up under threat from behind. So they do need to be careful.
Indeed, as they come up to the final corner now, it looks like Mitchell tried to take a late entry there to try and square the corner off and get a good run in the exit, but again, just can't get close enough to Pixley to make a move. But as I say that, it looks like Mitchell's closing up, heading up into turn one, and it looks like Mitchell try and take a late turn and try and square the corner off to get a good run. Mitchell just misses the entry ever so slightly, and that compromises his exit. And again, Pixley running wide there, so Pixley's going to have to be careful of those cut track warnings in case he's got some already.
Yeah, I mean, I would love to know what how many, if any, of these drivers are sitting on track limit warnings already. It's a shame when we don't have access to that information here in the comms box, but yeah, and definitely something that these guys are going to have to be careful of. Yes, it's worth pushing, but not at the expense of getting a drive-through.
Indeed, as looking at Nick Vaggers at the moment, currently in 8th, and currently third in the AM class, and it looks like behind him as well you've got a Barth closing him down as well. So this battle for third place not over by any means, as we're just about to come up to the 40-minute remaining mark in this race, and there's not really many battles going on at the moment, but still plenty of close battles going on at the moment, but nothing. There's not been any silly incidents in the race so far. So that's good to see. But as further up the road, we've got the battle for 5th and 6th between the Millet and Saniel and the Patrick Tractor going on as well, as Patrick closes up on the braking there, and the Aston Martin, it's sort of like this GT4 Aston Martin, at least, is like the GT3 car. It's not the quickest car at times, but it's a good stable car.
Yeah, and Mark Saniel in the sole running BMW, he's quietly been doing very, very well this season. Had a little bit of a slow start, but after the win at Watkins Glen, he's been showing very, very well. So as we see Regan Mitchell in that Maserati coming in for his pit stop at 40 minutes, I would hazard a guess that he is going to take tyres as well, as we see Patrick Tractor also coming into the pits. So yeah, possibly Regan, willing to push that car just a little bit harder, knowing that he was going to take tyres at the pit stop. Be interesting to keep an eye on Richard Pixley to see if he decides to cover off Regan and pit now, or decide to hang it out and see what happens. But definitely something to keep an eye on as Regan comes just comes into the exit of pit lane now.
Yeah, so I wonder if Regan's decided to pit early and maybe try and get a jump on the top 3 in front of him, especially Pixley, because I think Pixley in a way was holding him up slightly. So I think Regan's decided to jump into the pits and maybe try and do an undercut and try and just get some clear air. What he's got is he's come out the pits and there's no one in front of him, so it'll give him an opportunity to try and put some quick laps down.
Yeah. But it'd be definitely interesting to see how that strategy pays out, and whether or not Richard Pixley decides to react, or just runs his own race and sticks to plan. But as we're just on board with Nikolai Schroeder, it still hasn't managed to shake Bass completely, although there's a fairly comfortable gap of 1.1 seconds been behind him.
Indeed, as the top 3 come across come around the final couple of corners now, and it looks like any of these 3 dive into the pits. Nope, they won't. They continue for another lap. So Pixley gets a little bit sketchy there in the exit of the final corner, and that will allow Schroeder a chance to get a run at him coming across the line. But I don't think he's going to be close enough as Nicholas Millet comes into the pits in 4th place.
Yeah, so it does seem that quite a number of the field making the decision to pretty much split this race in half, and take tyres, and as well as that mandatory fuel stop.
I was just going to say they're coming through the S's now, and I think if I was Schroeder, I'd maybe try pitting early as well. Maybe see if we could maybe get a Sept or use the same idea as Mitchell, and maybe try and get some clear air to put some quick laps down. But as I come up to the hairpin heading into hit before the back straight, I thought Millet was going to dive up the inside there. If he did, that would have been a bit of an opportunistic move, but I think again decides to back out of it, and he's got the run heading down the back straight.
Is definitely pulling in Ben Richard Pixley. That gap now down to 0.4. He's in the slipstream, but I don't think he's close enough to make the move just yet, as they just come round turn 11. But saying that, Richard Pixley has gone wide, and that's allowed Nikolai Schroeder to come through and reclaim or take then the lead of the race.
Yeah, it just looks like Pixley missed his braking point slightly. Just compromised his entry there, but he's got Baz Van Mellis right behind him now, and I think I wouldn't surprise me if Pixley possibly decides to dive into the pits now and maybe to get some of the rubber on, not lose too much time. But as they come up to the second to last corner, it looks like Pixley, is he going to dive into the pits? No, he's not. No, he's going to continue around for another lap. So is Van Mellis.
Yeah, so I do think that these three lead cars they're thinking about hanging it out to the end. I think, then there is this argument of which is quicker, taking tires or losing time from losing lap time because you're on older worn tires towards the end of the race. In terms of which strategy ends up being quicker, I think we're only really going to know at the end. Obviously, Regan Mitchell currently sitting down in P9. His last lap is still showing as his out lap, but he's just coming up to cross the line now. So it'd be interesting to see what his lap time this last lap has been compared to the lap times that Nikolai Schroeder and Richard Pixley have been posting. As he just crosses then the line, and that was a 2:19.6 from Regan Mitchell. And Nikolai Schroeder and Richard Pixley, obviously because then they were squabbling between each other, they were both doing 2:20s. So Regan Mitchell currently is lapping faster than both Nikolai and Richard Pixley. That time obviously being his first flying lap since his pit stop, but he has managed to get those tyres up to temperature and has also gained the position up into P8 as Mark Saniel has pitted behind him.
Indeed, so Mitchell slowly making progress back through the field, and back up at the front, and still got the top three close together, and I'm surprised that none of the top three have decided to dive into the pits either, maybe to try get a undercut. Maybe one of them, it's worth try pitting early, try and get our undercut possibly, but again they're still continuing for another lap. So I think I agree they could be going basically pretty much going to not to the end, but maybe just stretch it out as long as possible and just maybe taking fuel only.
I mean, and it can be quite a difference in terms of the amount of time you're stood in your pit box. For those of you not familiar with Assetto Corsa, if you take tires, your pit stop is a mandatory 30 seconds, regardless of how much fuel you take. But if you don't opt for tires, and you only just do a splash and dash, which if anyone is on a non-tire strategy is what they'll do. They'll take enough fuel at the beginning of the race for pretty much the entire race, just take on a couple of liters towards the end. That's a considerable amount of difference in the time that you're sat in the pit lane. However, it is a question of, is that worth the amount of time that you're going to be losing by lapping on old, worn, knackered tires, especially towards the end of a race around here with just so many corners.
Yeah, indeed. I think it's one of those things. You not just taking fuel only. Yeah, you won't lose much time, but like you say, you'll be on older tires, and yeah, you'll probably be on the back foot away. I think Regan Mitchell, he's probably getting clear out at the moment, and they probably at a good advantage on fresh tyres because he can put in some good laps. But again, Nicholas Millet and it looks like Mark Saniel, they still go at it as well. But again, further up as well, we've got this battle for 5th and 6th place with Barth, and they also Vargas just up ahead in 5th. So we've got this battle going on as well. Not just for the lead, but the battle for 5th place going on at the moment as well.
Yeah, and as we've been talking, Regan Mitchell has improved his quickest lap time, now down to a 2:18.3. So lapping completely on his own on brand new tires, he is taking chunks and chunks of time out of the leaders. So definitely going to be interesting to see how then this all pans out when the leaders do eventually decide to take then their pit stops. But as it stands at the minute, Regan Mitchell is lapping a second faster than our current leader and Nikolai Schroeder.
As Pixley and Van Melis head into the S's now, and it looks like Schroeder's managed to pull away from this battle for 2nd place. So at the moment, it looks like the more these guys battle away with each other, it gives Schroeder a bigger opportunity to pull away and build that gap before his pit stop. So looks like I don't know. I've just got a feeling it. Maybe Pixley's maybe running a full tank of fuel. Maybe trying to just take basically full tank of fuel. Maybe just planning to take tyres, or not a full tank of fuel, but pretty much just planning to take fuel only as it stands. So I've just watched Pixley at the moment, and as Van Melis goes wide into the hairpin.
Yeah, and it's little tiny mistakes like that is a reason why we've not seen Bass and up more towards than the sharp end of this championship. He's a great driver, can be very, very quick, but yeah, just little overshoots like that. When we saw it cost him the lead in this race early on. And he is quick compared to Richard Pixley. He's making that time up very, very quickly, but he's got to get a handle on the mistakes. But yeah, I do think that Pixley is potentially running heavy fuel and is planning on doing a single tire strategy, but then the gap to P1, Schroeder is starting to pull away from these two as they fight. There's now 2.5 seconds gap from Nikolai Schroeder down to Richard Pixley in P2. So be interesting to see if either of these top three pull the trigger and decide to pit a little bit earlier than planned, just to get out of traffic, or if they stick to their guns and hang it right out to the end.
Indeed, Pixley but Van Melis are still close together, and Baz closes up ever so slightly, and you've got about 27 minutes 40 coming up for 40 seconds left in this race, and I'm very surprised that none of the top three of at least maybe none of the top three have tried to do something different. Maybe with regards to the pit strategy and pitting early possibly, but I think it's maybe just a case of wanting to try and stretch it out as long as possible, or it's a game of who blinks first and dives into the pits.
Yeah, I mean, and I don't know how much then these two are keeping an eye on Regan's lap time. Because of where they are on track, they're probably not aware of the lap times that Regan is putting in, unless they have a spotter who is watching the stream, or watching the race as a spectator. So they may not be aware then that Regan Mitchell is just putting in these incredibly fast lap times, still half a second quicker than Nikolai Schroeder, and a second and a half quicker than both Richard Pixley and Van Mellis, with them squabbling between each other as they are at the minute. They are losing lap time, not only to the leaders, but also be under threat from Regan.
Yep, talking about people they're trying something different and blinking early to dive into the pits out of the top three is Richard Pixley. So Pixley deciding to dive into the pits now and maybe just to take a splash of fuel.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see where he comes out in relation to Regan. So Regan is currently just coming into the technical section at turn 17 and 18. So he's very, very quickly coming up to the start finish of then the track, and Pixley is now moving again. So this does look like Pixley is going to potentially keep it, depending on how quickly Pixley can get back up to speed. But as Regan is just entering into the final corner, Pixley has made the right call in staying out, despite that change in that difference in lap time. Does look like it was the right decision to stay out.
Yeah, absolutely, and he's definitely he came at miles ahead of Regan Mitchell as well. So I think it looks like Pixley's just take fuel only and no tyres.
Yeah, so it's and it does prove that quicker on track, not always necessarily than the quickest strategy. But yeah, this is why strategy engineers in pro teams get paid all the big bucks, because it can make just such a massive difference in the result of a race if you get your strategy right.
Indeed, there's a rider on board of rider on board of Jan Barth as well. Just ahead of him, he's got Vargas in third place and second in the M class. So yeah, I think obviously these guys have still got to pit as well. So it looks like Barth just misses his turning point there ever so slightly, and it compromises his exit getting back on the power. But still, these guys have still got to make a pit stop. So as it stands, Pixley, once the pit stops cycle out, I think Pixley's will probably cycle back out in a top 3 position. And also, I'll be interested to see what happens with Schroeder and Van Mellis, if they can jump Pixley or not, if they'll do the same and just take fuel only. Because I think I've got a feeling that Van Mellis and Schroeder are going to stay out as long as possible. But on the downside, the thing is, if they're holding each other up, that's just going to allow Pixley an opportunity to close, basically take some time out of them, maybe possibly jump them.
Yeah, they don't appear to be close enough on track to be holding in each other up. I do think it's going to be interesting to see where Nikolai Schroeder comes out and after his pit stop, whether he remains out in front of Richard Pixley or not. I think he will. He's just had tremendous pace this whole race. So it's great to see a talented driver coming into this championship. Obviously, it's the last race of the championship, so it's not going to have anything to do with championship points. But I would definitely like to see Schroeder come back in future seasons, and I think he's definitely going to be a driver to contend with. And just looking in on YouTube chat, and Andrew Richardson quite surprised that Regan has not won a race yet in this championship. Okay, no way Regan has never had a win. He's rapid. He is quick, and it really is a shame that we haven't seen Regan on that top step of the podium. I think if it hadn't been for the fact that Regan had to bow out of Watkins Glen and Spa, I think he would be, right up there at the sharp end of this championship, potentially even. Challenging Richardson and definitely Aaron Walker for those podium spots for the championship. So it's unfortunate that Regan, we've not really seen the best of what he can do then this season because missing those couple of rounds. But yeah, he's definitely a really, really good driver, and can't wait to watch what he does next season. Be interested to see if he decides to take the Maserati again.
Yeah, I'd be interested to see if he does that. If he does the full season next season and also takes the Maserati. I think the Maserati is much of a fun car. Much of a fun car that is. It does seem to be hampered and slightly just because it's got no ABS and no traction control. So. Yeah, I think if he does do next season, I think he'll probably look into maybe racing something next year, maybe the Mercedes or Aston Martin, or even maybe the Porsche Cayman. But but you never know. We've seen it times this season so far, or this season, pretty much in general, Regan Mitchell's been able to get this Maserati into good positions that maybe it doesn't deserve to be in.
Yeah, he's definitely been able to handle that car. Definitely a lot better than I ever could. I find GT4s challenging enough by themselves, let alone removing all of the driver aids from the mix as well. So it's just a testament to how smooth a driver Regan is. It's just a joy to watch, knowing that this car has no traction control, no BS, and a whole lot of power to boot. So it's been great watching him.
Indeed, as Mel's coming across the line now and still and all by himself now. It looks like Schroeder's pretty much just pulled away now, and I think Baz will probably a little bit frustrated there because he was leading the race in the early stages, but I don't know if his maybe tyre pressure is just starting to fall ever so slightly, but he's ended up falling back, and he just dropped a little bit of pace ever so slightly, but still running in second. And I think at the moment, I have to say the standout driver of the race so far, if I was to vote, is probably Nicholas Schroeder. For his first race in the series, he's doing pretty well, and as I said, Jan Barth into the pits from third place.
Yeah, Schroeder has definitely been, the standout driver for this race so far. By Bass, coming in P2, this is going to be his best result of the season. His best result coming into this round was actually Zolder last race. So he's definitely on an improving form as the season progresses. But yeah, it's as when we're on board with Richard Pixley again within the Wild Things Racing machine, currently sitting in P4. Just coming up to the back of Nick Vargas. Obviously, Nick hasn't pitted yet, so he's probably not going to fight this position too much. There's no real point, but I know even from personal experience, it's sometimes difficult to switch the driver, the competitive driver, off. And accept that somebody's on a completely different strategy and not really racing with you. but so sometimes the red mist can descend, and you think, no, I'm not going to make it easy.
Yeah, absolutely. And looking at Pixley in fourth at the moment, and catching up to Vargers, and I think obviously Vargas still needs to make his pit stop, so it wouldn't surprise me if he dives into the pits at the end of his lap, and maybe they not run the risk of getting into a battle with Pixley, who he probably realises is the quicker driver that, or maybe slightly quicker than him, but he coming around the final or the second to last corner. It looks like is Vargas going to come into the pits? No, he's not.
No.
He's staying out. So it looks like as I take that back, it looks like Vargas may put up some bit of a fight before he pits.
Yeah, and as I was saying, and it's difficult to sometimes switch the racer off. And I don't think he's going to fight this position too harshly. But at the same time, it's probably not going to just gift the position to Pixley. It's currently 0.3 of a second between them, and no doubt that is going to come down through the SS section as Pixley just shows that he's and slightly better driver through that section. We are talking about two different classes, and as well Pixley is a pro driver compared to Nick in the AM class. Pixley just kind of sticks his nose in and a little bit just to let Nick know then that he's there. But as they come just around the hairpin, Nick just going a little bit deep catches those sausage curbs on the outside, and Pixley is through.
Yep, I think excuse me. Yeah, I think Vargas recognised that Pixley was quicker, and they just decided to let him go if Pixley got a run, and they Pixley up into third place now, and I think I don't know. I'm just looking at the gap with Pixley up to the Schroeder. It's about 42 seconds. So I think Schroeder's got a big enough gap to make a pit stop and still come back out in the lead, I believe.
Yeah, I mean, and I think Schroeder has played this race very, very well. He's definitely come in. Being very, very quick. If what Andrew Richardson is saying in chat is true, that he's only just started practicing in this car today, then I can't wait to see what he can do with a full set of practice laps under him. He's definitely going to be up in that pro class, I think, if he comes back to join us next season. So yeah, and he could be very, very interesting to watch if he's doing this well with next to no practice. Then he's definitely going to be a dark horse in future seasons. As we just look further down the order, as we're on board with Patrick Tractor battling it out with Mark Saniel for P9. I think he might be close enough to have a go up into turn one. Not quite close enough, but if he stays on the back of Mark through the twisty S's section, he might have a chance down into the heavy braking zone of P11.
And they just come up through the S's now, and it looks like Samuel just got a bit of messed his entry up there slightly, and it looks like Tractor's trying to make a move, but just not close enough. But I think if Patrick gets a good entry into the backseat, as again Samuel compromises his exit there, coming up over the hill, and Yeah, that's going to give tractors our opportunity to try and make a move into the hairpin. He's got the run, but is he going to try and throw it up inside? And he's not close enough. So I think tractor needs to try and take a late entry and try and square the corner off and get a good run and is head onto the back straight. It looks like tractor's got a run, but again, that straight line speed of the BMW just seems to help Samuel keep ahead for now.
Yeah, he's got to try and stay in the slipstream, but then, as you said, that BMW has got some grunt, and it looks like Samuel got a slightly better exit out of the corner. So I think Patrick Tractor is going to have his work cut out for him to try and get past Mark. As in, he decides to be a little bit braver on the brakes coming into that more technical section. When we could have a dive, if they stay then this close, then they may have a go down the start finish straight up the hill into P1.
And they just I thought Patrick Tractor was going to close right up there and possibly run into the back of Mark there, but luckily Patrick managed to get it slowed down and again closing right up on the braking. And Patrick seems to be more confident on the brakes, and he's got a great run as they come across the line.
And he is going to have then the inside, but it's just a question of whether that BMW has just got that little bit more power. Is he going to be brave enough to cut across? He's not. And then Patrick Tractor just forces in a little bit wide and takes the place up into P9.
Yeah, that was a great move by Patrick there. He got a run initially and then ended up falling back, but he kind of just checked his nose up the inside sort of, and he forced Mark to back out there, and Patrick threw it up the inside. He didn't overrun the corner, and he managed to get it slowed down. So, a great move by him. But further back, we've still got the battle between Millet and Hop, and it looks like Barth as well for 6th place. So, yeah, these guys have made their pit stop. So, yeah, they're good until the finish. It's just Schroeder, Van Melis, and also Vargas that have still got to make their pit stop.
Yeah, Frank Hopkin just has a look into the inside, but it's just not quite close enough yet. Definitely trying to make himself as big as possible in Malot's mirrors, and hopefully trying to force a mistake. But Frank and Nicholas been fairly close most of this race.
Indeed, as I come to the second to last quarter, and Millet still in 6th, and but under pressure from Hop and Barth, and it looks like it looks like Regan Mitchell's caught up to the rear of Nick Vargas as well. So yeah, definitely Regan Mitchell has absolutely been on a charge.
And he has, yeah. He's by far then the quickest on track. Pulling in low 19s on a fairly regular basis, and that fastest lap of a 2:18.2. But Nick Vargas gonna be looking at then the race timer pretty soon, just coming into then the last 8 minutes. Got to be thinking about doing his pit stop certainly within the next 2 laps, and I would say he might be able to squeak it out to 3, but that's a bit of a risk. So, and I would say certainly within the next 2 laps, we should see Vargas, Van Melis, and Schroeder come in to do their mandatory pit stops. And just as I say that, Bas Van Melis must be eavesdropping in, because into the pits in he comes. So Nicholas Schroeder has decided to do another lap. I believe, where is Nick Vargas? He is he's just coming up to the start-finish straight, so it'd be interesting to see if he decides then to pit then this lap or not. But Regan has now cleared Nick up into back into net P4.
Jesus Van Miles comes out of the pits, and I believe he may just come out ahead of Richard Pixley. Richard Pixley's he has. So yeah. I wonder if Pixley had a slow pit stop or a slow pit entry, because he's way behind.
Well, remember, Pixley took tires, whereas and everybody else hasn't. Possibly hoping that the lap time disparity between fresh tires and old tires would have been enough. But at the minute, it just doesn't look like it's panned out that way. Bass has come out with 8 seconds ahead of Pixley. Pixley is a rapid driver, but I think that might be too much for him to try and to get done in just over 5 minutes time. So just a bit too much of an ask. So Bass doing very, very well to keep that P2 position. And with the gap that Nicholas Schroeder has got over Bass, which is nearly a minute, he is going to have enough time, and I think, to quite easily do his pit stop, do a splash and dash, and remain in first place. So really, really great showing for Nicholas Schroeder in his first race out with us, as we're on board with Frank Hopp, once again on the back of Nicholas Malott, putting Nicholas under pressure for that P6 position. So he just sticks his nose out a little bit to remind Nicholas that he's there, but doesn't go for a dive just yet. Not quite close enough.
Yeah, indeed, and Schroeder do well in his first race of the series, and I think if he plans to do next season and do the full season, I think he could be a championship contender, and it wouldn't surprise me if he gets moved from the AM class up into the pro class, because he's more than quick enough, and he's still got to make his pit stop as that Vargo's having a bit of a slow pit entry there, so maybe just slowing down to get on the pit speed limiter there, but it looked like he just went slower than expected, but into the pits now, and it's just him and basically one person left now is Nicholas Schroeder to make his pit stop. But I think Nicholas Schroeder, I've got a feeling he'll probably leave it until the last couple of minutes to make his pit stop, and basically just take fuel only, or basically take a splash fuel.
Yeah, as Frank Hopp tries then to have a look up then the inside, but unfortunately misses his braking point and ends up going a little bit wide. But interestingly, that's just reminded me, we've not had any drive-throughs in this race.
Yeah, you beat me to it. I was about to bring it up, but no one's, amazingly, considering it's COTA, no one has had any drive-throughs for track limits. So as I look at Nicholas Schroeder, as I say,
there is 3 minutes left, so could possibly still happen. But for a 75-minute race around here, that is pretty surprising. As we've seen Nick Schroeder finally come in to do his pit stop with 2 minutes 45 left on the race clock.
Yeah, this should just be a splash of fuel. So as I look at the driver, it's looking like they're on course to take the AM Championship. Denise Pope still circulating in 12th place, and basically 12 out of 12 runners. But I think she's not going to be bothered about that. She's just thinking about getting to the finish and picking up the points to see the championship. And amazingly, if she takes the championship, you were talking about that, Sam. If she takes the championship, even though she's not won a race, it'll still probably the first driver this season to do that, or in general.
Yeah, I mean, and it just goes to show how important consistency is. And even when you're having a bad race, and there have been several, in outings this season where Denise has either gotten herself into a little bit of trouble or just had, a string of bad luck. You mentioned that disastrous incident at Bathurst. It just goes to prove that, a lot of drivers, they'll get upset, they'll get angry, they'll say, oh, why am I bothering? Do the typical rage quit. But, then Denise, she has, she's stuck it out. Regardless of what's happened, she's continued running, continued racing. And lo and behold, by, just keeping that consistency, keeping running no matter what's happening, she's, performed race after race after race. And lo and behold, the championship has come to her. So it's, it's a very, very powerful message that no matter, what happens on track, just keep going. And even if you're absolute dead last, like Denise is, she's just, lapping on her own, treat it as practice. And, keep going. You have no idea what, then the few championship points that you pick up in that round are going to mean by the time you get to the end of a season like this. So, I love Denise. I think she's a fantastic ambassador for female drivers and sim racing in general. She runs Wild Things Racing, and she is just a great figurehead of this sport, and I love watching her.
Indeed, yes. I've watched her a few times on her YouTube channel. She's like you say, she's a very decent driver. She's a competent driver, and she's also part of the I can't remember what series as she races in. Is it the more
female racers?
More female racers. That's the one. Yeah, I've watched her a few times in that, and she's a very decent driver, and they always up there, and they always doing well. And like you say, she's not had luck go her way this season. As I say that, it looks like Nicholas Schroeder has crossed the line to take the win in the race, and his first win in the series as well. So yeah, congratulations to him. But as the battle for 5th place and 6th place is coming round now between Nicholas Willett, and it looks like Hop in the background as well. It's pretty much just waiting for the remaining drivers to come across the line. But congratulations to Nicholas Schroeder. And not a lot of drivers on the track tonight, only 12 drivers, but still that's surprisingly been a great race up at the front and also further back in the field. As looking at Patrick Tractor coming around the final corner, and plenty of good battles going on out through the field. And they have to say, I think just waiting for the remaining drivers to come across the line, and also waiting for a newly crowned AM Championship in the GT4 series. Denise Pope to come around. She's still, I'm not trying to find out where she is. She's not too far away, I think. But as speaking of the devil, coming across and coming around the final corner to cross the line, Denise Pope will take the AM Championship in the GT4 series, and a big congratulations to her and the Wild Things Racing team.
Yeah, she has done extremely well then this season, and if you give me a couple of minutes, I'm going to see if I can work out what Richard Pixley's P3 finish does to that those last couple of podium spots within the within the Pro Championship. So you know what? I just do not have the brain capacity to be able to work this out live on air. So I'm going to leave it provisional at that. I do think that Pixley has possibly gotten P3 in the championship, but please, please, please do not quote me on it yet. Anyone in YouTube land, when we shall see how it pans out. But I think Pixley might have gotten P3. Not sure. We're just going to wait for a couple of the other drivers to come and join us. But while we are waiting, Bas has jumped into the comms box. Bas van Mellis, good evening, sir.
Good evening, Sam. How are you?
I'm not too bad. How are you?
Well, I can't really complain, can I?
It's a very good result for you tonight.
Yeah.
How was the race for you?
Well, the race was... I actually got 0 track limits, so I think I deserve some kind of medal.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that definitely deserves a medal. When we were actually commentating, just mentioning, just coming up to the last few minutes, we couldn't believe that we hadn't had any drive-throughs, and you're saying that you had no track limit warnings at all.
No, it was quite a surprise for me as well, because the race was it was quite a well, it wasn't really eventful because we had quite a small grid, and we had a guest driver joining, Nikolai Schreuder, who finished first, which is a great result. But it reminds you to never ever accept a guest driver again, of course. No, just kidding, of course. But no, it was a fun race, and everybody kept it clean. And from what I could see, well, I think that everybody that started also finished.
Mm-hmm. Yep,
yeah,
and
so
I think we had one dropout. We started the race with 12, and I think we had 11 take the checkered flag.
Yeah, usually you see throughout the season that the number of sign-ups per race goes down a bit. We obviously always try and keep the grid as full as possible. Hence, we also let Nikolai join as a guest driver this time. But yeah, it was a fun race. I hate COTA with a passion because I did quite some practice lap, and it was an absolute nightmare. The track limits, they seem to be given out at random, to be honest. But yeah, in the end, I managed to have a clean race. So I'm very happy with the P2 result, and yeah, happy how it went. And there's Nikolai, our guest driver, who came first. Congratulations, Nikolai.
Thank you. I want to say a big thank you for actually letting me participate in this race. Yeah, and I didn't expect this, to be honest, completely.
So Andrew Richardson in the YouTube chat gave away that you have done pretty much no practice in the Cayman before today. How true is that? How much practice have you actually done?
For this race, 15 laps, and that has been today. And in total, I've done like 3 hours in the GT4 Cayman, and that's been for a 3-hour race at Watkins Glen, which actually didn't happen. And that's the setup I've been using. So I've been using my Watkins Glen setup. That I think Andrew actually gave me at that time. Yeah.
Okay. So definitely a dark horse coming out of nowhere with no practice, and you take the race win. So the key question: are you going to be joining us next season?
Most likely, yeah. As I actually fell in love today. So I'm actually considering joining the GT4 races. Yeah.
Oh, excellent. Good. Well, we definitely look forward to seeing you, and any potential for you maybe joining the GT3 championship as well?
Yeah, obviously, as I'm actually I think I'm already the championship winner in Tier 2.
Oh.
But I'm not sure about that. I need to do my math.
Yeah, the maths are a little bit difficult to work out, as I've been trying to calculate in my head as the race has been progressing today. But yeah, it's really great to see you on track today, Nikolai, and we definitely look forward to seeing you next season.
Thank you.
And Bas, just coming back to you quickly. So, what has been your overall impression of the championship then this season? What's your highlight?
Well, my highlight is that's a hard one, really. My low light was Watkins Glen, where my wheel stopped working when I was in third place. So that was a proper low one, and probably finishing second and taking pole for the first time in an online race in a competition like this. That's great stuff. Obviously, I have to say that Aaron Walker and Andrew Richardson, those guys haven't joined today, but they were in a league of their own. They were the whole season consistently. Andrew won quite some races. I believe 5 out of 7 rounds, somewhere around that mark. So that's an amazing result. And if you look at the pace that Andrew and Aaron both have, that's amazing. Same goes for Sander Valen, my teammate, who's not joined us tonight because of a knee injury. He's also always got great pace. And Richard Pixley tonight, he did a great job in the Mercedes because, being fairly honest, the Porsche was quite OP on this track, and Richard did a great race, and he had great defensive lines as well. So props to him. And yeah, I think that overall the GT4 season, it's a lot of fun, and it's clean racing for well, almost all races. If you look at the amount of incidents that are reported, it's very low. So it also shows that everybody respects each other and on track and off track. So that's I think that's maybe even the biggest highlight, that there's so much clean racing. And hopefully for the next season we can also see a higher amount of drivers joining for the last few races, because obviously how you organize it to have a full grid. And you don't want to have 12 out of 30 people joining you. You want to at least have 20 out of 30 to say. So that's a focus area for next season. Yeah,
definitely. Well, and it's definitely been a fantastic season for us to watch in the commentary box. Ryan, and I'm sure you would agree with me that this has been a fantastic season to watch.
Yeah, absolutely. The race has been great this season. It's been a pleasure to call the accident alongside your good self, and yeah, looking forward to next season already. And I think just watching the Nikolai Schroeder, I think that drive from him tonight, if he does plan to do the full season next season, I think he's pretty much just showing that he's going to be one of the main contenders for the championship.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be one to watch. But yeah, so this has been a great opportunity for me. This is the first full season that I've commentated on this side of the track. And just before we sign off, I've just seen that Richard Pixley has jumped into the waiting room, so let me just pull him in. Good evening, Richard. How are you this evening?
Hello.
Can you hear us?
Hello?
Hello.
Hello.
There we are. There we go. Right. So, how was the race for you tonight? Richard, congratulations on your P3. How was it behind the wheel for you?
That was pretty tough. It's not the easiest track, and it's not the easiest car for that track. I was struggling. First couple of laps, maybe the first half an hour were pretty good, but after that I was struggling to keep the pace up. Lots of defending.
So was it a planned strategy from the beginning that you were going to do the whole race, I'm assuming, on one set of tires? Is that right?
Yeah, I didn't really see, without a like a time limit on your pit, I thought there's not really a lot of chance I'm going to get without a podium, without just keeping one set of tyres. Taking the tyres, it gives you another 30 seconds in the pit. So that's if I were to lose 30 seconds, I would have maybe finished even behind P4 or 5.
So how much practice were you able to get in before then this evening?
Not as much as I liked. I was struggling in the practice I did to find the consistency, but I tried my best.
And how were you doing on track limit warnings? Did you have any?
Yes, I did.
You did?
So, some were a bit questionable by the game, but losing time and then, yeah.
They're giving it random, Richard. They're giving it random. It's. I was lucky not to get any, but sometimes you're on the lap, and it's like, okay, where this track limit came from? Okay, special.
Yeah, when we were commentating here and then mentioning here in the comms box that we were stunned that after a 75-minute race around COTA, there were no drive-throughs for track limits. When we were all in expecting, we were even taking bets at the beginning as to how many laps there would be before there was a drive-through in YouTube chat, and lo and behold, we have an entire race win without any. So very unusual. So are you going to be joining us again next season, Richard?
Possibly. We shall see. Maybe pick a car what's a little bit probably suitable to the tracks. I didn't really know how the Mercedes would be to the American tracks. As you were saying about the track cuts, yes, I was very surprised about no one getting any. I was sort of praying maybe the front two would maybe pushed a little bit too much at the end, but no. But congrats to Nikolai and Baz.
Excellent. And what's your highlight been for the season?
I'm not sure, to be honest. Probably, I just think probably just being quite clean and actually finishing every race. Probably a little bit better than I expected, to be honest, but I was a bit disappointed with some drivers not turning up to all the races, but hey ho, real life things get in the way sometimes. So say congrats to Andrew again on the championship, and to Denise on the AM championship as well.
Excellent. Right. Well,
can I say one last thing? Sam? Sorry for interrupting.
Yeah, of course.
I just wanted to thank Tom van der Meer, yourself, and Ryan for the broadcast that you do every race. We're obviously amateur racers. We're not Formula One drivers, so commentating us can probably be a bit less exciting. But you guys do it all free of charge, pro bono, which is absolutely amazing that you guys take your time out of your evening and away from your family and friends to commentate a race like this. So thank you very, very much. Also, Tom, for the broadcast. It's an amazing thing, and it's nice to share the broadcast that you guys do with all the other drivers. You can show your friends and family, and so thank you very much for your time and effort put into that. That's greatly appreciated. And last but not least, Chris, our head honcho, is currently going through a bit of a rough patch in life with his parents being ill, and I just wanted to take this time to wish him lots of strength in this difficult time, and hopefully he'll be back on board at SSRI. So Chris, from the whole admin team, hang tight, and hopefully you'll be back soon. thanks a lot for everything, guys. So greatly appreciate it.
No, thank you very, very much for that, Bas. Those wonderful words, and yeah, I share your sentiment with Chris. We're wishing him the best for getting through a difficult time, and yeah, the community is here for you if you need us. But Bas, thank you very much, and yeah, it's been a pleasure commentating on the season. No, you guys aren't pro drivers, but you've definitely given us lots and lots of interesting racing, and when we've had fun commentating on your races. Pretty much, in every week. So then thanks for giving us something to commentate on. Ryan?
Well, again, thank you.
Ryan, have you got anything to add?
I can't really think of anything. I think you've pretty much summed it up, and I think Baz pretty much summed up when it came to thanking everyone for the season. And yeah, again, it's been a pleasure commentating on the series this season, and yeah, I'm just grateful for the opportunity.
Well, on that note, I'm going to say that I have thoroughly enjoyed commentating on this GT4 season. I am definitely looking forward to next season and all of the excitement that it is going to bring. So from myself, Ryan Walker, Tom Vandermelt, and all of the SSRI team and drivers and community, thank you for joining us. Have a pleasant evening and enjoy the holiday season, however you celebrate it. And we look forward to welcoming you back for season 3 in the near future. Keep an eye on the SSRI Discord for information on when that new season is going to hit, and in YouTube, be sure to to subscribe and hit that bell icon so that you get notified for our next broadcast. And don't forget, we have our charity race coming up in a couple of weeks' time on the 10th and 11th of December. Our annual Race Against Cancer this year is going to be the 24-hour of Suzuka. I will be commentating on the Saturday. Ryan, and I believe you're going to be doing some commentary on the race as well at some point. Is that right?
I was hoping to, but unfortunately, the real life commitments mean I can't make it. But I'll be watching the live stream when I get a chance. But yeah, if anyone's thinking about making a donation, do it. It's for a good cause, and I know myself. I'll be making a donation at some point.
Yeah, definitely. So all of the details are in the SSRI Discord. Thanks again from me and from Ryan, and hope you have a fantastic evening. Thank you very much, and bye for now.